New update 2 years later, OP's mother tries to force a reconciliation between OP, her sister, and OP's obsessed ex, but it backfires. My bond with my sister completely shattered. She believed my ex was perfect for me and became unbearable, especially after she started dating his brother. Despite my efforts to move on, my ex remained a constant presence, invited to all family events and holidays by my siblings. It wasn't until my sister pushed for us to get back together that I truly had enough. My sister's persistence was relentless. She tried everything from setting up blind dates to arranging for us to share a room during holidays. No matter the occasion, my ex was always invited. I finally asked my parents to intervene. They spoke with my siblings, and while my brother backed off, my sister did not. The situation reached a boiling point when I met my future husband during a semester abroad. He attended another university in our country, and our connection was instant and magical. After a year of dating, we got engaged. While my family was thrilled, my sister was not. She insisted I was in the honeymoon phase and would eventually return to my ex. After countless fights and attempts to reunite me with my ex, I warned my sister that if she continued, would cut her out of my life. Despite the warning, my sister made me her maid of honor and orchestrated a setup at her wedding where my ex was included in the bridal party, and my husband was paired with one of her friends. We didn't realize the setup until the reception when the friend made a pass at my husband. My sister's reasoning was that since we weren't married, it was okay to explore other options. Furious, I left the party and told my parents and brother that I would no longer speak to my sister and would cut them off if they tried to mediate. My mom was devastated and tried to negotiate, but my dad and brother respected my decision. Since then, my mom made 2 attempts to reconcile us, but I have not spoken to my sister in 6 years. My sister tried various tactics to reconcile, from gifts to tantrums, but I ignored her. At family events, I acted as if she didn't exist. Initially, she made snarky comments and tried to create drama, but with no one backing her up, she eventually gave up. She had a meltdown upon learning she was invited to my wedding but would not be involved in any preparations. My brother expressed guilt for going along with her antics for so long, and his relationship with my ex suffered as a result. Recently, at my mom's birthday celebration, I announced my pregnancy. This would be the first granddaughter in the family. While everyone was thrilled, my sister's reaction was noticeably cold. My mom invited me for tea a few days later, and despite my reservations, I went. As I arrived, I saw my sister's car and, inside, found my sister, her husband, my ex, and his mother. They had planned an intervention, accusing me of being childish and urging me to forgive my sister. My ex claimed he was just being romantic, and his mother said my sister only wanted the best for me. My brother-in-law criticized me for being hurtful and immature. My mom read a letter expressing her sadness over our estrangement, and my sister tearfully read her own. I remained silent, texting my family, dad, brother, husband, and looking at my mom in disbelief. When my brother arrived, he was furious. He gathered my things and expressed his disappointment and disgust with the situation. We waited in his car until my dad and husband arrived. By then, I was sobbing, and my brother kept apologizing. Later, I sent everyone except my mom an email with my lawyer's contact information, stating that I did not wish to be contacted and would involve the police if necessary. Although no one has contacted me, my dad informed me that my mom and sister are hysterical, hoping to reconcile so my sister could be involved in my baby's life, possibly as a godmother. My dad is currently staying with my brother, supporting me, while some family members and mutual friends have expressed concern for my sister, believing the narrative that my husband is keeping me away from my family. I detest publicizing my private matters, but I felt compelled to share a lengthy Facebook post detailing the entire situation. My sister, brother-in-law, and ex have faced significant backlash, which I feel is deserved. My mom has been inconsolable, but her intervention was deeply hurtful. I agreed to talk with her, setting clear boundaries for any future interactions, including therapy, family therapy, boundaries, no sharing information about me with my sister, and separate holidays. Most importantly, I warned her that any further attempts to manipulate me would result in cutting her off completely. My mom felt this was excessive but agreed, mistakenly believing it granted immediate access to baby news. I clarified that it was a process requiring her to prove her improvement. My dad and brother refused to speak to my sister, repeatedly apologizing for not stopping her earlier. My husband supports my decisions, though my mother-in-law is uncertain about cutting off my mom's access to her granddaughter, ultimately leaving the decision to me. I remain conflicted about my mom's involvement in my life. As I navigate this complex situation, I can't help but reflect on the impact it has had on my mental and emotional well-being. My sister's relentless attempts to control my life have caused significant strain not only on my relationships but also on my sense of self-worth. Despite the support from my husband, dad, and brother, the lingering question of how to handle my mom remains a constant source of stress. The betrayal I felt during the intervention at my mom's house still stings. The sight of my ex and his mother, sitting there as if they had any right to dictate my life, made me realize just how deep my sister's manipulation ran. Their accusations and attempts to guilt-trip me into forgiveness were infuriating. My mom's involvement in organizing such an ambush only added to the pain. Her letter, filled with pleas for reconciliation and justifications for my sister's behavior, felt like a knife to the heart. It was clear that she prioritized a superficial family unity over my genuine happiness and well-being. After the intervention, the public response to my Facebook post brought a mixture of relief and anxiety. Seeing my sister, brother-in-law, and ex face the consequences of their actions provided a sense of justice, but it also opened up my private life to public scrutiny. The outpouring of support from friends and distant relatives was overwhelming, and while it reinforced my decision to stand firm, it also reminded me of the far-reaching effects of our family's dysfunction. My husband's unwavering support has been my anchor through this ordeal. His patience and understanding have been invaluable, especially as I grapple with the emotional fallout. His mother, though supportive, is understandably concerned about the potential impact on our child. She worries about the absence of a grandmother figure in our daughter's life and the possible repercussions of such a significant family rift. While I appreciate her perspective, the trauma of my mom's betrayal is too fresh for me to consider a reconciliation without significant changes. I decided to set up a meeting with a family therapist to discuss the situation in detail. My dad and brother agreed to join, hoping to find a way forward that protects my boundaries while addressing my mom's desire for reconciliation. The therapist's insight was enlightening, highlighting the deep-seated issues in our family dynamics and the unhealthy patterns that had developed over the years. In the therapy session, we established several key points for moving forward. My mom needed to acknowledge the harm caused by her actions and take responsibility for her role in perpetuating the conflict. She also needed to respect my boundaries and understand that rebuilding trust would be a gradual process. My brother and dad committed to supporting these boundaries, ensuring that my sister would no longer have a direct line to my life through them. Despite these steps, the path to healing is fraught with challenges. My mom's initial reaction to the therapy session was mixed. She expressed a willingness to change but struggled with the idea of losing immediate access to her granddaughter. Her sorrow was palpable, yet I remained firm in my decision. It was essential for her to prove her commitment to change, not just for my sake but for the sake of our entire family. As the weeks passed, I focused on my pregnancy and preparing for the arrival of our daughter. The joy of impending motherhood was often overshadowed by the unresolved tension with my family. I took solace in my husband's support and the anticipation of creating a loving, healthy environment for our child. The process of establishing new family traditions and routines was both exciting and daunting. My dad and brother continued to be my pillars of strength. They maintained their distance from my sister and reiterated their regret for not intervening sooner. Their support was crucial in reinforcing my resolve and reminding me that I was not alone in this struggle. In an effort to maintain a semblance of normalcy, my husband and I began planning for our daughter's future. We discussed the kind of values we wanted to instill in her and how we could shield her from the toxicity that had plagued my relationship with my sister. Our goal was to create a nurturing, supportive environment where she could thrive without the burden of family drama. The upcoming holidays presented another challenge. I communicated clearly with my mom that we would be celebrating separately from my sister to avoid any potential conflict. While this decision saddened her, she reluctantly agreed. I reminded her that these boundaries were necessary for my peace of mind and the well-being of our growing family. One day, I received an unexpected call from my sister-in-law, my brother's wife. She expressed her understanding of my decision to cut ties with my sister and shared her own frustrations with the family dynamics. Her words were a reminder that I wasn't the only one affected by my sister's manipulative behavior. The conversation strengthened my resolve and gave me hope that, with time, our family could heal. Despite the emotional toll, I found strength in my growing daughter and the life my husband and I were building together. The process of healing and establishing new boundaries was far from easy, but it was necessary. Each day brought new challenges and opportunities for growth, and I remained committed to creating a better future for our family. In the end, the journey to reconcile with my mom and protect my boundaries was a testament to my resilience. While the road ahead was uncertain, I was determined to navigate it with grace and strength. My husband's unwavering support and the love for our unborn daughter fueled my resolve, reminding me that the effort to break free from past traumas was not just for my sake, but for the sake of our future. As my pregnancy progressed, I started to experience a mixture of excitement and anxiety about the impending arrival of our daughter. Every kick and flutter reminded me of the new life we were bringing into the world, a life I was determined to shield from the chaos that had surrounded my own upbringing. My husband and I spent hours preparing the nursery, choosing soft colors, and filling it with items that symbolized the peaceful and loving environment we wanted for our child. During this time, I also began to notice subtle changes in my mom's behavior. She reached out more frequently, not to pressure me, but to offer support and ask about my well-being. It seemed that our therapy sessions had started to sink in, and she was making a genuine effort to respect my boundaries. These gestures, while small, were significant steps toward rebuilding trust. My dad and brother remained steadfast in their support. They often visited, helping with nursery preparations and offering emotional support. Their presence was a constant reminder that I had allies within my family who understood and respected my decisions. My brother's wife also became a close confidant, sharing her own experiences and frustrations with family dynamics. Her empathy and understanding were invaluable during this time. Despite these positive changes, the upcoming holidays loomed large. My mom and I had agreed on separate celebrations to avoid any potential conflicts with my sister. However, the thought of fragmented family gatherings weighed heavily on my mind. I yearned for the kind of unified family celebration that seemed increasingly elusive. As the holiday season approached, my husband and I decided to host a small gathering at our home. We invited my dad, brother, and his wife, creating a warm, intimate atmosphere that was a stark contrast to the tension-filled family events of the past. The evening was filled with laughter, love, and a sense of hope for the future. It was a glimpse of the harmonious family life we were striving to build. One evening, as I was preparing dinner, my phone rang. It was my mom. Her voice was tentative, yet determined. She expressed her regret for the intervention and her realization of how deeply it had hurt me. She acknowledged that her actions, though intended to heal the family rift, had only caused more pain. She apologized sincerely, not just for the intervention, but for her role in perpetuating the conflict over the years. This conversation was a turning point. While I wasn't ready to fully forgive and forget, I appreciated her effort to understand and respect my feelings. We discussed the steps she was willing to take to rebuild our relationship, including ongoing therapy and maintaining the boundaries I had set. It was a difficult conversation, but it felt like a necessary step toward healing. As my due date approached, my mom's involvement remained limited, but she was present in small ways that respected my boundaries. She sent thoughtful messages and small gifts for the baby, each accompanied by a note emphasizing her understanding of the need for gradual healing. These gestures were appreciated and helped ease some of the tension. When the day finally arrived, my husband and I welcomed our daughter into the world. Holding her for the first time, I was overwhelmed with love and a fierce determination to protect her from the kind of pain and manipulation I had endured. Our little family felt complete, and the joy of her arrival overshadowed the lingering family drama. The weeks following our daughter's birth were a blur of sleepless nights and joyful firsts. My husband and I navigated the challenges of new parenthood together, cherishing every moment with our precious daughter. The love and support from my dad, brother, and sister-in-law were unwavering, providing a strong foundation during this transformative time. Despite the happiness our daughter brought, the issue of my mom's involvement continued to linger. I decided to meet with my therapist to discuss the best way to move forward. The therapist emphasized the importance of setting clear, enforceable boundaries and maintaining open communication. With this guidance, I arranged a meeting with my mom to discuss the terms of her involvement in our daughter's life. During our meeting, I reiterated the boundaries we had previously discussed. I explained that while I appreciated her efforts to change, trust needed to be rebuilt gradually. My mom listened attentively, agreeing to the terms and expressing her willingness to prove herself over time. She acknowledged the pain her actions had caused and committed to ongoing therapy to address the underlying issues. With these agreements in place, I allowed my mom limited access to our daughter, under the condition that any interaction would be closely monitored. The first visit was brief and supervised, with my husband and me present. My mom's demeanor was respectful and cautious, clearly understanding the gravity of the situation. Her genuine joy in meeting her granddaughter was evident, and while I remained guarded, I felt a small flicker of hope. Meanwhile, my sister's attempts to reach out continued. She sent letters and messages, all of which I chose to ignore. My priority was my daughter's well-being, and I was determined not to let my sister's manipulative behavior disrupt our new family life. My brother and dad supported this decision, reinforcing the need for boundaries and reminding me that my primary responsibility was to my daughter and husband. The family therapy sessions also continued, focusing on healing the fractured relationships and addressing the deep-seated issues that had plagued our family. These sessions were difficult, often bringing up painful memories and unresolved emotions. However, they were also cathartic, providing a space for honest dialogue and gradual healing. During one particularly intense session, my mom broke down, expressing her deep regret and sorrow for the pain she had caused. She admitted that her actions were driven by a fear of losing her family and a misguided belief that she was acting in everyone's best interest. This moment of vulnerability was pivotal, allowing me to see her not just as a source of pain, but as someone who was also struggling with her own fears and insecurities. As time passed, my mom's behavior continued to improve. She respected the boundaries we had set, and our interactions, though limited, became more positive. My husband and I remained vigilant, ensuring that any involvement from my mom was in line with the agreed-upon terms. The slow, cautious rebuilding of our relationship was challenging, but it also provided a sense of hope for the future. The holiday season arrived, and with it, the first major test of our new family dynamics. My husband and I decided to host a small gathering at our home, inviting only those who had supported us through the difficult times. This included my dad, brother, sister-in-law, and a few close friends. My mom was invited as well, under the condition that she respected the boundaries we had established. The gathering was a beautiful blend of love, laughter, and the joy of new beginnings. My mom, true to her word, respected our boundaries and focused on enjoying the time with her granddaughter. It was a bittersweet moment, knowing that my sister was not part of this celebration, but also a reaffirmation of the choices I had made to protect my family. As the evening drew to a close, my mom pulled me aside. With tears in her eyes, she thanked me for giving her a chance to be part of my daughter's life. She expressed her deep regret for the pain she had caused and reiterated her commitment to ongoing therapy and respecting our boundaries. For the first time in years, I felt a genuine sense of hope that our relationship could heal. The months that followed were a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of boundaries. My mom continued to respect the terms we had set, gradually rebuilding trust and repairing the fractured relationship. My dad and brother remained steadfast in their support, providing a stable foundation as we navigated this new chapter. My sister, on the other hand, continued her attempts to reach out. Despite her efforts, I remained firm in my decision to keep her at a distance. The trauma of her past actions was too deep, and I was not willing to risk exposing my daughter to the same toxicity. My focus was on creating a loving, supportive environment for my family, free from manipulation and drama. In the end, the journey to reconcile with my mom and establish a healthy family dynamic was arduous, but necessary. It required difficult conversations, setting and enforcing boundaries, and a commitment to ongoing therapy and healing. While the road was far from easy, it ultimately led to a stronger, more resilient family. My daughter's arrival had been the catalyst for this transformation, and her presence continued to inspire us to strive for a better future. The love and support of my husband, dad, and brother were invaluable, providing the strength and stability needed to navigate the challenges ahead. As I held my daughter in my arms, I felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey we had undertaken. The pain and struggles of the past had not been in vain, they had shaped us into a stronger, more united family. And with each passing day, we continued to build a future rooted in love, respect, and unwavering support for one another.